permanent bridge of Budapest was finished in 1849. Adam Clark Square, named after a Scottish engineer, he was the construction manager of the chain bridge. But the designer was British, and that was William Tierney Clark. This is the last ride with the pink line for today, so we only come back to this place. But the green is still running after it, and so are the river cruises, so the boats. Danube, which comes from Germany, the Black Forest, and flows through 4 capital cities of Europe. One is Vienna in Austria, and then Bratislava in Slovakia, Budapest in Hungary, and Belgrade in Serbia. It finishes in the Black Sea and is almost 3,000 kilometers long. On the left-hand side, this is the Calvinist Church of the Buddha sign. The original name of the Danube is Danu, because the very first inhabitants of this area in the 3rd century before Christ used to be the Celts, and their god of waters was Danu. So this is how the name of Danube or Danubius in Latin was given, so it's Danu. And on the right hand side is the Parliament building of ours. It was built in Neo-Gothic style and was finished in 1904. Back then, this was the biggest parliament in the whole world. Today, in Buenos Aires and in Bucharest, you can find bigger than this one. But it was just recently cleaned and renovated. The works lasted for 13 years, and they lasted until 2014 March. So you came at the right time, because everything is bright and shiny over there. It got a brand new square, but with the old monuments and statues, which were also cleaned. Part of the Han Empire. So it tells you that we are not the Huns, that's another nation. But when the empire was over, a great migration started, and the Hungarian people decided to come here, where we are today, and that's where they settled in 896. So ever since you can find us here, but in many languages, the name of the country, it is still connected to the Huns, because in Latin, Hungaria, just like in English, Hungary, means the land of the Huns, but we are not the Huns. So the original name of our country is not Hungary, but Magyarország, and the people are not Huns, but Magyar people. Many Slavic languages call our country Magyarsko, for example. So Hungary is a twist in history, actually. So our language is not Indo-European like Germanic, Latin, Slavic or the others, but Asian. It's part of the Asian Uralic Altai language group, just like the Turkish and also the Finnish. But we don't really understand each other, so it's very hard to be in this language family. But still, our language, the Magyar language, has 46 letters in the alphabet, and the grammar is also it's complicated. So it makes it to the top 5 of the most difficult languages in the world. To our next stop, which is at the Margaret Bridge, and in the middle of the bridge on the left hand side you can find the entrance to the Margaret Island. That's a large leisure park. There are many entertainment opportunities over there, a large panorama tower and also a Japanese and a rose garden. There are many sports facilities. The biggest swimming hall and beach of Budapest is also on the island, a small but a free zoo, clubs, museums, and also a huge musical fountain you can find there, which plays music every hour. On the right hand side you can enjoy the panorama of the Danube, which is UNESCO World Heritage, with the Parliament and the Castle District as well. And in the distance you can also see the Gellért Hill, which is part of a national park in Hungary. All these sites are illuminated at night, so it's highly recommended to take a walk at night next to the river, or you can take the river cruises. The first one in the evening, after the sun goes down, goes at 7:45 p.m. from the dock number 10.
Which side is that on?
Margaret Island there is a huge swimming hall, which is important because the water sports are playing a very significant role here in Hungary, especially water polo. That's the national sport. The men's national water polo team is the first on the list among the Olympic champions. They are 9-time Olympic champions, and the girls are also very good at it. But along these, kayak and canoe is our thing too, just like swimming, because we have a great, wonderful swimmer called Hosszú Katinka, and she was chosen to be the best swimmer of 2014 by the FINA, the International Swimmer Association or Federation. But handball is also very popular, just like chess and athletics, wrestling, fencing, and the other team sports like volleyball and basketball. The building on the left-hand side used to be the seat of the Workers' Party until 1989. That's the year when the changes of politics happened almost all over Europe, and Hungary became a democratic republic too. Now for almost 5 years the Democratic Party is on power, and the Prime Minister of ours is pretty well known in Europe. His name is Orbán Viktor, and his reputation is still unclear if it's positive or negative, but still, unfortunately, the biggest problem in Hungary is the average wage, so the salaries per month, because one can get in hand, in net, only a little bit less than 500 euros for a month, which is very low. Because if you'd like to rent an apartment by yourself here in the city center, it is at least 200 euros per month, and 300 left, not much. But it's getting slightly better each year. Let's hope for the best. So we are part of the NATO and part of the European Union since 2004. But our currency is the Hungarian forint, which is one of the oldest currencies of Europe. It was invented or introduced at the beginning of the 1300s, after the example of the Italian florins money. So this is why it's called forint, but without the L. So this is our stop here for the Parliament, and then we will see it from up close. So welcome on board everyone. We are now at the Parliament building. It has a very nice square where you can also find two important palaces. One is the Ministry of Agriculture and the other is the Supreme Court of Justice Palace. So that used to be the seat of the Supreme Court of Justice, but today is the Museum of Ethnography. The building you can see on the left hand side with two towers and a huge group of statues in between. It's also very richly decorated in the inside, so on the left hand side. But on the right hand side you can see an original ship from the late 19th centuries. This is the Lajta Monitor, and it comes from the Austro-Hungarian times, and today it functions as a small exhibition place. You can find there also relics from the Austro-Hungarian times. And on the left hand side you can see the decoration of the Parliament building. There are 96 statues on its facade portraying the most important figures of our history. And these are the most realistic portraits of theirs, and they are life-size statues. The height of the building is also 96 meters, so 96 statues, 96 meters. That's a symbolic number because the very first Hungarian people came here in 896. And here on the past side, no building can be higher than the Parliament. That's the limit of architecture. Oh, and on the left, newlyweds. Beautiful bride and the groom. And of course the beautiful groom. the left-hand side there is an equestrian statue of a man called Count Andrássy Gyula. He was the Prime Minister of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in Hungary, the youngest of his kind, and there is an impressive and also important avenue here in Budapest on the Pest side, which leads you to the Hero Square, and that's the Andrássy Avenue, named after him. Under that is the second oldest metro line of Europe. The Millennium Railway was constructed and finished in 1896. And on the right hand side is the White Matthias Church, one of the most important Roman Catholic churches of the country, which was established in the 13th century. And in front of it there is the Fisherman's Bastion. But here directly next to us on the right, where the people are, you can see the Shoes Holocaust Monument. 60 bronze pairs of shoes commemorating the victims of Holocaust who were shot into the river during the death marches. The former royal palace of Buda, the big one with the green dome. But today, since we are a democratic republic, we have no king or queen. Therefore, it is a cultural center. The Budapest History Museum is inside, the National Gallery and the National Library. But next to it on the right, you can see a White House, and that's actually the White House of ours. So the office of the President of the Republic is there. He is the second man of the country. The first one is the Prime Minister. And every day at 12 o'clock there is a grand change of the guards at the Presidential Palace. So it's a very nice show actually. So it's like 5 minutes. They are turning their weapons, they have a special choreography, like dance moves. People like it very much, so the change of the guards is at the White Building on the right hand side every day at 12 o'clock. But they change in every hour, but the big one, special gig, is at 12. But the Sofitel on the right is actually interesting because everyone can go into the lobby, and if you go in the lobby and take a look up, you can find there the very first Hungarian private airplane hung from the ceiling. Building on the right hand side is the Hungarian Ministry of Interior. And the other one next to it is a beautiful Art Nouveau building called Gresham Palace. We will see it a little bit better soon. And in the street here on the right hand side is the Basilica to be seen. And the Hungarian Academy of Sciences is also here on the right. The country has 13 Nobel Prize winners. 150th anniversary of the classical and folk music concerts are held inside the building, and there are also exhibitions of arts and architecture. It was very busy in the 19th century when Wagner, Strauss, Brahms, Debussy, and the Hungarian-Austrian Franz Liszt and the Hungarian Béla Bartók also performed in between its walls. And our next stop is for the boat, and that's what you can find at dock number 10. And if you take a look to the right hand side, you can see a large building, and that's a bathhouse, but a Turkish one. The small green dome comes from the 16th century, and that's a Turkish steam bath called hammam. We have 7 of those because the country, just like many others here in the neighborhood, were occupied by the Turkish Ottoman for 150 years. This is why many Turkish institutes were created on the area and territory of Hungary. Even today there are some jamis, mosques, minarets, and these hammams here, especially on the Buda side in Budapest. But you can still visit them, they are functioning, and they are very beloved locations of the locals in Budapest too. So the Rudas bathhouse is the largest Turkish one in the city. Én nem láttam nálad ilyesmi. Teljes zacskó tiszta. And the hill on the right hand side is the Gellért Hill. It's part of a national park in Hungary because of its flora and fauna. And on the top of it you can see the Liberty statue of Budapest, that lady holding a palm branch which symbolizes peace. And next to it there is a flat fortress called the Citadel. It used to be a prison and was established by the Austrian Habsburgs. You can reach the top of the hill with the green line, and it provides definitely a breathtaking panorama. We usually say that we don't have a London Eye, we don't have an Eiffel Tower, but we have the Gellért Hill. It provides the panorama and it is free of charge. So this one here is the next bridge, the Liberty Bridge, Hungarian design, and it has an important building next to it on the Buda side. We'll be able to see it better as we pass. So on the right hand side is the Gellért Thermal Hotel and Bathhouse. It's not Turkish, that's a traditional one. It has 10 pools, also large outdoor one. And we say this is the most beautiful bathhouse of Budapest because the decoration in the inside is in Art Nouveau style. The building on the right hand side is the so-called whale. It has a glass wall in the middle and it looks like a whale. This is why we call it that way. Souvenir shops, traditional restaurants you can find inside, exhibitions and the new Budapest gallery. But a very, very good handcraft beer pub is also inside. Also wir kommen an Bord, wir sind jetzt an der kleinen Rundstraße von Budapest und es führt uns ins Stadtzentrum bald. Aber hier sehen wir die Calvinistische Kirche von Budapest am Calvinplatz. Heutzutage die Hauptreligion von Ungarn ist mit 55% die römisch-katholische Religion und dann kommen die Calvinisten. Diese Gemeinde hat fast 20%. So this road, the small boulevard, will lead us to the city center, and before that we are going to see the Calvinist Church of the Pest side. Nowadays the main religion of the country is Roman Catholicism with 55%, around 55, and then comes the Calvinist community with 20%, a Protestant one. So it's on the right hand side, the Calvinist church, and in front of it you can see the statue of Johannes Calvin. Also rechts ist die Kirche und davor kann man auch die Statue von Johannes Calvin sehen. Und die schlanke Straße hier rechts ist das Radoi, das nennen wir die Restaurantstraße von Budapest. And the street on the right hand side is the Radoi. We call that the restaurant street of Budapest. And here we have a stop. The Hungarian National. Das Museum ist rechts zu sehen, on the right is the National Museum. Erreichen wir das ehemalige jüdische Viertel von Budapest. Heute in diesem Bezirk, es gibt 3 Synagogen für die orthodoxen Liberalen und für die sogenannte Status Quo-Anti-Gemeinde. Wir sehen bald die größte Synagoge von Budapest und das ist in der Dohánystraße und ist für die Liberalen. So after this crossroads we will see the former Jewish quarter of Budapest, and there are 3 synagogues in this area, one for the Orthodox, for the Liberal and also for the Status Quo Anti-community. We will see the biggest one of the city in the Dohány Street, which is for the Liberal. On the right hand side is the synagogue, rechts ist die Synagoge. Wir haben da auch keine Haltestelle. Aber jetzt fahren wir zur Elisabethenplatz und da ist auch die St. Stephan Basilika und dieser Platz ist ein Freiheitspark. Es gibt viele Möglichkeiten da. Einer von den größten Clubs Budapest ist auch da, das Aquarium Club. So we are going in the city center at the Elizabeth Square. You can find many opportunities. The biggest club one of the biggest clubs of the city is there, the Aquarium under the ground, and the St. Stephen's Basilica. But you can also change to the green line here. The first stop of it is straight ahead at the Elizabeth Square. Und jetzt rechts ist die Kuppel von der St. Stephan Basilika. Es ist nach dem ersten König von Ungarn genannt. István, oder auf Deutsch Stephan, gründete das christliche Staat im Jahr 1000. Und in dieser Basilika, Sie können die heilige rechte Hand finden, und der anderen natürlich. Und das ist die mumifizierte, intakte rechte Hand von ihm. Er starb im Jahr 1038. Diese Basilika ist kostenlos zu besichtigen. So on the right hand side you can see the dome of the St. Stephen's Basilica. And this is named after the first king of the country who founded the Christian state of Hungary in 1000. Stephen, in Hungarian his name is István, is the most important saint of the country, and the holy right hand is in this basilica. That's the mummified intact right hand of the king.